A bit of my background, I guess. I'm an accountant. Any other accountants? It's okay, you can fess up. That's great, mate, eh? And I'm a pastor at a church called City Point Church, community outreach pastor. And I'm also a downhill skateboarder. I've been downhill skateboarding about 28 years now. Haven't really figured out how to stop yet. Just love going fast down hills. So I'm like a pastoral skateboarding accountant, so a little bit multi-personality. But when I was doing uni, all 12 contact hours a week, how good's uni life, by the way, hey? Really struggling, those uni students. I got involved with my local church and had I call it a bit of a spiritual wedgie experience for me, where I figured out life wasn't just about me anymore, and my career and what I wanted to do was actually about others. And so I started skateboarding clubs around my local area with these young feral skaters that love throwing bricks through windows at 1 a.m. and set fire to things. And so I started just picking them up outside 7-Elevens and heading into Paddo Skate Park down the road. And I did this for about 5 years, just looking after these skaters, which everyone else was driving past on the way home from wherever they were going, and started these skateboarding clubs through my local church. And we started about 5 of these over a 5-year period. When they got to year 12, they went to that really wholesome, lovely youth festival on the Gold Coast called Schoolies Week. Hey, aren't we proud as Queenslanders? What a legacy of the rest of the nation. Here you go, Schoolies Week. I think it started 72, 74. So if you did Schoolies in 72, 74, thank you so much for that legacy. That was awesome. My skaters went down there. I hadn't been down in years. I actually did 2 Schoolies weeks. I repeated year 12, so I could do 2. But when I went back down there, I was walking around Cavill and 30,000 on the Gold Coast, and stuff coming off verandas, a full tin of VB smashed a metre from me. I couldn't believe I'd thrown away 4 ones, but anyway. And I saw this chair come off the building. That looks like a chair. Into the pool, that was a chair. I remember seeing these Japanese tourists that had just flown into the Gold Coast during Schoolies, as thousands of Schoolies are going past them chanting, "Let's go down the road, let's go down the road." That's where the Schoolies were going, down the road. And I remember thinking then the Japanese tourists fly out of Australia thinking that's what Aussies are like, and they're not half wrong. My skaters invited me down and they said, "Ghouls, come visit us." And I went to get in the building and there was this massive security guard on the front reception. And I went to get in, he goes, "Where are you going, mate?" I said, "Oh, my skaters are in this building, they're running amok. They've invited me down just to look after them." He said, "Well, you can't come in here, mate." I said, "Why not?" "So we need photo ID to get into this building." Because what they do at Schoolies is do a total lockdown of all the buildings and issue photo ID to every schoolie so they can't party crash. But I'm arguing with this big unit going, "Mate, I know what these boys are doing in your building. I can be far more benefit up in these rooms and out on the footpath." But he wouldn't budge. And I was ticked, I was spewing. Well, not at him. I sort of went down the road and went, "Yeah, you think you're tough, mate," then legged it because he was bigger than me. But I remember thinking, I'm not letting this Neanderthal tell me I can't look after my skaters. So I went to the hotel manager the next day and I said, "Do you want a hand with Schoolies Week?" She goes, "How much?" I said, "No, free. I sort of volunteer at my local church, can bring some of my churchy mates down to help." And she goes, "Oh, that'd be great, come into my office." Starts maybe cups of tea and scones. I think, "Oh, this is all right, free food." And then she goes, "How many of your friends can you bring down to help out at Schoolies?" I went, "Oh, yeah, quite a few. We've got a pretty big church." And just to give you an idea, in case you haven't been down there, her building was 400 17-year-olds in the building. With there more alcohol and grog in every room than you could throw your nana at, then more other substance floating around that you care to mention. There's 2 security guards and 1 hotel manager trying to keep a lid on 400. So she was saying, "Yes, please, can you come help out with this thing?" We had managers go, "Would you like a free room in our 5-star resort on the Gold Coast for your workers?" When I think about that, I know that's okay. And she goes, "Oh, and can we feed you, every day in our buffet restaurant, for your workers?" I went, "Yeah, that's all right." So we went back to Brisbane to our church and we screen printed up all these shirts called Hotel Chaplaincy. And we just went straight back down the coast and we just started crashing parties. We go floor to floor, finding dudes passed out in stairwells and dragging them back to the units, and found this one guy passed out in the lift with his bucket on his head, so we took him out of the lift so the lifts could close again. And we'd find them passed out down in the sand dune region, so I'd pull them off there so they wouldn't get attacked by the toolies and droolies. And we'd stop at them, going over the verandas and doing unsafe stuff over those things. But we're having a bit of trouble getting into rooms, so a little bit sketchy on us for the first 10 minutes. So I went to my mate Lukey, I said, "Mate, there's got to be an easy way of getting into these parties." So I went down to the local corner store. There was a massive big box of these Allen's Red Frogs sitting on the counter. And I conned this shop owner down about $10 for this big box of frogs. Grabbed it, legged it straight back up to this building, got in the lift, went, floor 11 will do, ding, doors open, empty beer cans in the floor, went right over here. A bit like Man vs. Wild, but Man vs. Schoolies, Walk out, music belting through a door, went, yeah, they're in that door. Knock on the door, little Schoolie peers open, goes, who are you? I said, Hotel Chaplaincy. He said, hotel what? I said, Hotel Chaplaincy. He goes, hotel security? I said, no, mate, no, do you want a red frog? He goes, red frogs, man, come on in, man. He goes, we got frogs. And they start coming off the veranda, grabbing handfuls of these red frogs. Then he gets on the phone to his mates unit downstairs going, we got frogs. And they're coming up from downstairs. And I'm just standing here in this drinking party with this box of lollies going, these things are amazing. So all you parents out there that have told your kids don't take lollies from strangers, it doesn't work, eh? I went into the next room, which was the naked room. All they were wearing were pots and pans and stuff. And big unit with a saucepan for alcohol goes, drop a frog in the pond, mate, drop a frog in the pond. Right, mate. So I got on the phone to our workers straight away and I said, buy the Gold Coast out of red frogs right now. I thought I was tripping on something. So I went to every corner store, Woolies, Coles, and we got 80 kilos of these red frogs. And they got us straight in just to all these parties we've spent ages trying to get into, even past big security guards that weren't letting us in other buildings. Rock up, they go, where are you going? Visiting Schoolies. Can't come in here. Mate, want a red frog? Oh, yeah, bro, coming in, bro. Love language of security guards right there, free stuff. So we started with like 17 workers and about 80 kilos of frogs. And the next year, more buildings rang us and said, Andy, can you bring your volunteers down? So we went to 45 workers and then went through 220 kilos of frogs. The next year went to 90 workers and 440 kilos of frogs. Then went to 130 workers and 80 kilos. And the year after that, 1.2 tonne of Allen's red frogs. Who knows when you bought a tonne of lolly, you can tick that box as a little kid, One day I owned a tonne of confectionery. They went to 2.4, then 3.2, 4.1, 5.2, 6.1, now 7.1 tonnes of Allen's red frogs, looking after 70,000 schoolies and over 21 schoolies locations, including now Fiji and Bali. We also talk to 42,000 high schools in high school education programs leading up to schoolies. We do seminars like how not to get evicted from your hotel room, how not to turn your parents into grandparents over Schoolies week, which is good. We have over 1,700 volunteers that get involved in this. And we also run 7 big dance stages around Australia, Red Frog stages. And they've been absolutely brilliant with our MCs and DJs because we set them up on beaches, we dance them on sand for about 5 hours. So they come down, dance on sand, then they go back to kick on and they're stuffed. They just go to bed. It's awesome. So it's taken about 3 to 4 hours off their drinking time, which is great. But we also come up with this thing called the Red Frog Hotline, and this has been probably one of the amazing things we stumbled across. And it's a national hotline where you can ring red frogs anywhere in Australia and get red froggers to crash your party with red frogs and stuff like that. So what I might do though is show a couple of clips. If you've got a weak stomach, just brace yourself for this one. To really sum up what red frogs do, they clean up a lot of this stuff. Isn't that an amazing shot? Isn't that awesome? Next thing we do, we actually get kids out of their cupboards and we say, mate, if you're going to hang your shirt off, make sure your mate's not still in it. And then also we get a lot of hugs from drunk people at schoolies. As you can see, I'm not used to getting hugged by strange guys in the middle of Cavill Mall. But this is our Red Frog Hotline shot here, our stats. And last year we had 11,619 call-outs in our Red Frog Hotline. Now, you get some classic call-outs. One bloke goes, is this the Red Frog Hotline? I said, yeah, buddy. So I've got an emergency. I said, what's going on? He said, I'm sitting on the dunny and I've run out of toilet paper. I said, mate, red frogs are pretty generous people, mate, but we don't go that far. He goes, no, it's okay, I found a loaf of bread, then hangs up. Just hope it wasn't multigrain, But in that, we get a good snapshot, I guess, of our youth culture and I guess some of the issues we face. And I just want to come off 2 weeks of schoolies and this last night, just then. Still got teams going in Bali and Fiji at the moment. But, amazing these volunteers just being in the right place at the right time. And last year they got to 657 alcohol poisonings up in rooms where they literally walked in to find someone passed out in a random room and they would get the ambos to them. And we'd also do random acts of pancakes, as you can see, over 4,583 call-outs. And that puts a bit of food in them while they're drinking, gets us in the room to assess who's passed out where or who's doing dangerous things over the balcony. And it's a great sort of icebreaker in that. But it's amazing the timing where we've literally been walking into a place and this a girl sitting in the spa bath, totally drunk, slowly slipping underwater, and our teams walk in and grab her just at the right time. To literally walking down, a building and a girl's half climbing out a window and her teams grab her at the right time. And it's just amazing, just that right place, right time, which, we really pray for as a team that we can get there just in time. And how we sort of summarise Froggies as being a fence at the top of the cliff instead of the ambos down the bottom. And most of our workers are like 18 to 25-year-olds that donate their time to go down there and make a big difference. So now we're the largest support network for Schoolies in Australia, also one of the largest support network for university colleges because Schoolies is just pre-O week to us. That's where they really learn to drink. And then we do music festivals, we're doing Stereosonic right now. But we come on that journey, I guess, from being an accountant to now having one of the largest harm prevention programs. Why? Because I ride a skateboard. Why? Because when I was going to uni, I asked myself a question, what can I do? And for local kids, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a counsellor, I'm not a professional youth worker, I'm an accountant that rides a skateboard. But I thought I can just take kids skating. And I think a great question in the theme today, in asking questions, is not only asking questions of others, but asking questions of yourself. What can I do? And I hate whinges. Can I have a bit of just a debrief time here? Is that all right? I think there should be a wedgie squad for whinges out there, People whinging about, refugees, whinging about this, that. And I'm not talking about people doing stuff in those communities. They're legends. But people that just whinge and don't do anything about it. See, I've got a philosophy. I'm not prepared to talk about something I'm not prepared to do something about. And see, but my challenge to you and question for you today is what's one thing you could do? And my philosophy is this, is doing something is always better than nothing. That it's the little things you do that make a huge difference in people's lives. And you imagine if everyone in this room just did one thing in your year, what an amazing difference that would be in people's lives. So again, out of today, my challenge to you is what is that one thing you can go away with to say, hey, I'm actually going to implement that. For me, I'm downloading the app. That's my one thing. But for you, what is your one thing you can do to make a difference in your world? Thank you very much.